been in church all my life, and through different churches I've ended up here. And yeah, it's just a really positive place to be. I really enjoy being here. We came here probably nearly 2 years ago now, I think. And I got baptised fairly early here. I grew up in a church where adult baptism was not required because I'd been baptised as an infant. So I'd been through the confirmation process in that church, and that was as good as it got as an adult sort of declaration. So I got baptised here because I felt that was a missing part of my journey that I needed to take. And if I'm honest, I probably didn't do it at the right time. I was just trying to dot the I's and cross the T's rather than doing it for the right reason. The good news part of this story, I suppose, is not that I've arrived, but that I'm still going through a journey. Well, I hate that word journey, but I'm still going through a process where God's calling me back to the relationship that He wants to have with me. And through the preaching at Gateway at the moment, I think we're getting to a point where the preaching is very much, it's forgetting about the warm and fuzzies, and we're actually getting down to some real pinpoints, dot points of the gospel that we as Christians probably haven't heard for a long time. And I think it's really important to be uncomfortable when we're sitting in a church seat listening to a sermon. Not that we should always be uncomfortable. At some point it'd be nice to sit there comfortably because we know we've actually got it right and we're actually doing what God's requiring of us. But I know for me at the moment, every week there's something that's coming up and it's just going, oh yeah, about that. I'm reading a book by John Bevere at the moment. The themes that are running through that book is stuff that Jeremy's preaching about, or through the series of Daniel that we're looking at the moment. It's really mind-altering stuff. It's great. Making Jesus be who we want Him to be rather than us being who He wants us to be. And it's a really big difference. Yeah, I'm excited about, I'm actually not very excited actually, but I know that that's the path that I need to go down, is to be more faithful in my relationship with God. And it's a bit of a challenging direction actually, because you've got to just lay everything out. And as a person who's developed very strong self-independence and self-will over the last 20, 30 years, to finally say, well, God, I've got to forget everything that I know and start again. It's just very challenging, exciting at the same time to see how God will be faithful in that process as we do that. So, whilst God would like us to be the complete package straight off, I think we'd have a mental breakdown if we did. The sudden transformation, and I guess God calls us to repentance and confession it's not just a once off, it's almost well, it can be daily, it can be hourly, it doesn't really matter. But as God brings something to mind that we're still hanging on to, well, let's let that go and give Him the next step and just let Him take over more and more. It's a bit like being married, but you don't want to give them that much control. So, the good news for me in this place is that it's a very welcoming place. You don't have to have, there's no airs or graces required. You don't have to be part of a clique group to fit in. Mum and Dad came to church here for the first time, it was last week or the week before, and they really loved it. And they've grown up in a really traditional type church, and for Dad especially to say that he really liked being here was good, because he gets really, defiant's not quite the right word, but because it's not traditional, it's a lot of claptrap, he'll say, but he really enjoyed being here, even with the modern praise and worship sort of style songs that we do, and the fact that the sermon went over 10 minutes. He really didn't mind it, which is good for Dad, and Mum really enjoyed it as well. So, and it's the sort of place that it is. It doesn't matter where you come from or what baggage you bring, or if you've got no baggage, you might be in a really great place, and that's a good place to be in this community as well, because there's plenty to do, there's plenty to be involved in. Yeah, so we're really blessed to have Gateway, and we're really blessed to have the leadership that we've got, not just the pastors, but also the leadership team itself. Their faithfulness in following God's direction for this place is just really evident. God's got a plan for this place, and it's up to us as a church community and leadership to follow God's plan faithfully. And whilst we're doing that, nothing can get in our road. So that's the good news, I guess, is that we're here. It's a great place to belong. Yeah, we're just really lucky. So.